Hello and welcome back to another physics class, student. On today's topic of Learn Physics in 15 minutes, we'll learn about inertia. Before we get into it, let me give you students a situation of I'm pretty sure you all have been through before. You're on your way to buy groceries. Well, maybe not groceries. Maybe you were on your way to go to school and you decided to go to school by bus. Realizing how late you were to school, you had to stand up and hold the handhold because the bus was packed with people. During your journey, right, you noticed that you were leaning forward and backward, side to side, and then you thought to yourself, why am I having difficulties standing still in the bus? Really, you usually have um, a perfect balance, so it shouldn't be that difficult to stand perfectly still in the bus, right? Let's watch a video showcasing what happened to you in the bus. I want everyone to keep their eyes on the motion of the girl with the short hair and assume that she was you in the situation that I just gave you all earlier. That was an entertaining video, wasn't it? I hope you guys had a laugh as well. Well, back to the topic. As I described previously, you can see that the girl was having difficulties in maintaining her original position, which is standing. She even ripped the boy's shirt because of that. The reason why we experience such thing is all related to the lecture today, which physicists describe as inertia. Here are the learning outcomes for all of you students today. Well, by the end of this lesson, you all should be able to explain with examples the concept of inertia, explain the relationship between inertia and mass, and lastly and finally, justify the effects of inertia in daily life. Let's have a quick recap on what we have done in previous topics, like early in the chapter. So, earlier we had a look on the important components in motion, such as velocity, displacement, acceleration, and so on. We also had a look on the mathematical part, such as graphs, calculations, and such. And even last week's lecture, we got into free fall motion. Now, it's time for you students to understand the concept behind most of the motions that happen in our daily life. This is where Newton's laws of motion comes in. There are three laws in it, but for this lecture, however, we will only be focusing on Newton's first law, where it is defined as an object will remain stationary or move with constant velocity if no external force acts on it. So it's difficult to understand from the sentence alone, right? In a very simplified term, inertia is basically an object's resistance to a change in motion. It's analogous to when you got the perfect seat in a cinema and it's not your seat, but you refuse to move because nobody else is claiming it's their seat and forcing you to move. We can explain the concept of inertia using this example, which is called the tablecloth trick. Here, several items are placed on top of a smooth surface table covered with a tablecloth. So, in case you don't know what is a tablecloth, it's the red thing. And the items placed on top of the table are these glasses and the dishes, and cups. So, let's see what happens. Wait, before that, the tablecloth is then pulled away from the table. So, now let's see what happens. As we can see from the video, right, there is minimal movement of the items on top of the table. Inertia is what keeps the items in place because when the tablecloth is pulled quickly, the friction, which we know is a force, between the items and the tablecloth is small. So, what happens if we pull it more slowly? Well, this happens. Oof, you know, you know, dishwares and plates are really expensive these days. So, this is an unfortunate event. So, let me explain you this one. So, if we pull the tablecloth more slowly, the items will be dragged together with the tablecloth because the friction is more obvious and greater. So, as I mentioned earlier, inertia is an object's resistance to a change in motion, and this trick has demonstrated it clearly. There are several more examples of situations involving inertia, such as these four on your screen, but I'll explain it in greater details after the next section, so please hold your curiosity until then. We can actually see a relationship between inertia and mass of an object. So let's see here. A bowling ball, see a blue bowling ball versus a beach ball. I'm sure that all of my students that are watching this lecture video knows that the bowling ball is heavier than a beach ball, right? So we have both the bowling ball and the beach ball in the same shape and size, but with different masses. So the questions are, which is harder to move? Is it the bowling ball or the beach ball? And another question, which is harder to stop when in motion? Is it the bowling ball or the beach ball? Easy lah, this one. The answer to both questions are obvious. The bowling ball, of course. We know more force is required to move the bowling ball and to stop it from moving because it's heavy, right? Let's go back to the definition of inertia. An object's resistance to a change of motion. So the bowling ball basically have higher resistance in changing in motion because it's heavy. You could say that the inertia of a bowling ball is large then. What about the beach ball? We don't need to put great force in pushing the beach ball from rest or stopping it from moving because it's light. Again, from the definition of inertia, we could say that the beach ball have a small inertia. In conclusion to this section, the relationship between mass and inertia is the larger the mass of an object, the larger the inertia of the object. So I have this extra special slide for you guys to see it yourself when you're watching this video lecture. So you may pause the video and scan this and read the instructions that I've written here. Okay? We have finished the previous section, right? So let's go back to these few examples that I've shown you students just now. So there are tons of situations involving inertia in daily life, but due to time constraints, I will only explain these four. Okay? The first one we have here is a situation where raindrops spun off when a wet umbrella is rotated and is suddenly stopped. So let's watch the video. Okay, rotating an umbrella, right? Okay, so as you can see here, right, the kid rotates his umbrella and stops, and raindrops can be seen flying off from the umbrella, right? Look at this part here. Sorry. Oh. So that part just now. So raindrops, right? So um, as the umbrella rotates, right, the raindrops on the umbrella are in motion as well. When the kid stops rotating his umbrella, the inertia of the raindrops causes the raindrops to continue in motion and fly off from the surface of the umbrella. The second one is when you try to get the chili or tomato sauce from the bottom of a bottle. So let's watch the video, okay? As you all can see, the person flipped the bottle upside down and starts shaking it downward and then stops. Immediately, the sauce goes down as well. So what makes the sauce continue moving downward was actually the inertia of the sauce. So yes, this is the explanation. So both situations shown just now are actually the positive effect of inertia, because think of it. If inertia doesn't exist, would you be able to dry your umbrella easily? Or your fries will be cold by the time the sauce fall down onto the plate and you can enjoy a good tasty fries from McDonald's. So let's move on, really. Let's move on to the remaining situations. The next one is the liquid inside the tank of tanker trucks. So I'll play a video showing you what happens in the tank. The liquid is sloshing vigorously inside the tank, right? Due to this, tanker trucks' motions are incredibly difficult to control due to the inertia of the liquid. The last situation in my slide is the driver and passengers inside a moving car. Let's watch the video to see the effects of inertia in greater details. As we can see here, right? When the car abruptly stops, the driver in this video, which is the mannequin, um, is thrown forward with a great force up until it broke the windshield, right? So, what causes this? Well, again, inertia, specifically the inertia of the driver. The remaining two situations showcase the negative effects of inertia in our daily lives. In the tanker truck situation, if a tanker truck stops suddenly at an intersection, right, the liquid will slam to the front, causing the tanker truck to skid forward, and this can cause accident. Or for the drive, sorry, well for the driver and passenger situation, if they are thrown forward, they may hit objects in front of them, like the windshield that I show you in the video, and that could cause serious injuries to them, you know? So it's not the end of the world just yet. So there are several ways that can be done to reduce those negative effects. Firstly, for the tanker truck situation, the tank can be divided into several smaller tanks so that the motion of the liquid can be reduced, thus reducing inertia. So let me show you the video of it. So the tank is divided into three here, and the motion of the liquid is not really that vigorous compared to when it is not divided into three. Look at this. It's very, very vigorous. All right. While for the driver and passengers in a moving car situation, we have noticed inside our own family cars, right? Seat belts and airbags are installed in a car to prevent the driver and passenger from being thrown forward. So in this video, I can only show you when seat belts are worn during a car crash. So this one, the white here, the white thing here, and the black one is the seat belts. So let's see what happens. So instead, I mean, they are still like being thrown forward, but they, instead of hitting something, they actually don't. So that actually prevents them from getting injuries, getting into serious injuries. So in summary, the concept of inertia can be explained using Newton's first law of motion. The inertia of an object depends on the mass of the object, where the larger the mass, the larger its inertia. And finally, we have seen several situations involving inertia in daily life and the effects of inertia, whether it's positive or negative. Negative, sorry. We also see the ways we can reduce those negative effects. Okay, we have reached to the end of the lecture. Congrats, students, you have learned inertia within 15 minutes. Whew. So here, I actually have attached, not a question, but two questions actually to test your understanding about this topic. So These questions are based on the video shown in the third slide, which is the girl like having trouble standing still in the bus when the bus is moving and stopping and also starting. So these are the questions which are describe the effect of inertia in the video. That's the first question. And secondly, are there any changes of the amount of inertia if the girl sits down instead of standing? Give reasons for your answer. So you may type into Google search engine for this link here, and also, or you can also scan the QR code I've provided here and answer the question. You will get the answer immediately, by the way. And also you can check other people's answers. So uh, that's it for the lecture. I hope you all enjoyed it and see you in the next lecture. Bye!